The Team Go Rocket Takeover is in a few days. Giovanni has returned with a brand new Shadow Legendary. We've got brand new Shadow Pokemon to look through, and just to make absolutely clear, this is Adventure Week taken over. Shh. Welcome back, trainers. If anyone is confused about what this event is, bear in mind we're in the middle of Adventure Week right now. If you guys want to check out the video and how to maybe take advantage of this event, please check it out up here. But effectively, this is Team Rocket having taken over the Adventure Week event, which brings us straight into the when. It looks like it's running from the 8th of August at midnight, so the morning of the 8th, running all the way until Monday, the 12th of August at midnight, so 11:59 p.m. that night. And yes, the rumors were true. Giovanni has returned, and the new Shadow Legendary is going to be Shadow Cresselia. This Pokemon has been anticipated for some time, although everyone was waiting for Shadow Rayquaza, but that has not arrived. They're probably planning a much bigger event for that release. If you want to get an encounter with Cresselia, remember you're going to have to beat Giovanni first, and the only way you could find Giovanni is going to be through a Super Rocket Radar, and every time there is a new Rocket event, there's going to be new research, which presents itself every single time. But I'm going to stop there. If you guys want to stack your Super Rocket Radars, the best thing to do is not go past page 1 of the new research. If you don't have any stacked, maybe now is the best time to do this because it literally starts in a few days. But if you have a few stacked already, remember this trick: do not go past stage 1 because you can stack these Super Rocket Radars in your bag for the new Shadow, whichever legendary you want. And when you encounter the Shadow Cresselia, it's going to be at the lowest level of level 8, and it's going to have the highest level in Weather Boost at level 13, and remember the base IV floors are going to be 666 for all the values. But bear in mind, because this Pokemon can be caught at such a low level, it's going to be able to qualify for the Great League. If you guys didn't know, the non-Shadow form of Cresselia is actually ranked number 2. There's a current glitch on PvP Poke, which I think when it has Future Sight, it actually goes to number 2, and currently it is unknown what the Shadow is going to be ranked, but let me just tell you that this Pokemon is definitely going to put in work, so go after that Shadow Cresselia if you really want it in your bag. Moving straight onto the bonuses now. The first one being that Team Rocket is going to be appearing at stops more frequently, and let me just say that these stops replenish pretty often. There are rockets everywhere, so if you're looking for Shadow Pokemon, this is the event to do that, and how to take advantage of that we're going to discuss in a little bit. But the second bonus, which for me is the biggest one here and the biggest takeaway of this event for me, is going to be to remove frustration. Remember to remove frustration from your Pokemon, and something we're going to slot in here right now is our big tip. Remember, make a frustration tag folder in your bag right now. This is an easy way over time, whenever you get a good Shadow Pokemon that you want to remove frustration from, this is the best way to kind of keep a guide of that, so that when this event comes along, you can do them all at once, which is awesome. If you guys do not know how to remove frustration, click on the Pokemon and look at its moves. You'll be able to see that one of the charge move, if not the only charge move, is going to be frustration. Only in this event you can use the charge TM to remove frustration, and that is going to be the way to get the regular move on the Shadow Pokemon, and let me just say it is very, very worth it. Another quick tip to associate with that frustration tag is going to be this: remember to focus on the Community Day Pokemon that have happened last year and this year. For example, you could use something like the Cyndaquil. I know that Shadow Cyndaquil has been in rotation for some time, so if you maybe have a Shadow Typhlosion that you want to remove frustration off now and maybe get Blast Burn on it in December, this is the best time to do that too. We have Shadow Raids coming into rotation. In 1-star Shadow Raids we can get Shadow Mareep, Shadow Wooper, Shadow Cranidos, and Shadow Shieldon. In 3-star Shadow Raids we can get Shadow Nuzleaf, Shadow Magnetric, and Shadow Verbrava. And in 5-star Shadow Raids, now is a good time to announce that we have Shadow Lugia returning to the game for the first time in quite a long time. If you guys want to check out a private guide of that specific Pokemon, please check it out up here. We're going to do a full breakdown, but remember that is going to be taking place over the weekend of the 10th and 11th. Make sure to raid that Pokemon. It is currently the 13th best flying type attacker, so if that's something you want to invest in, go after it. But just to touch on a few top targets in these raids, the first one we would focus on in the 1-star category is going to be that Shadow Cranidos. Remember that it goes into Shadow Rampardos, and this Pokemon hits like an an absolute truck. It is currently the number 2 in the rock type category as a raid attacker. Please go after that Pokemon. If you get anything with a 15 attack, make sure to power that thing up as much as you can. It's really going to serve you. In the 3-star raid category, to be honest, none of these Pokemon are actually premier, but all of them I would say serve a purpose if you don't kind of have anything better. The Shadow Verbrava going into Flygon, for example, it's a pretty good ground type attacker, but a strict downgrade on something like Garchomp or even that Shadow Garchomp. The Shadow Nuzleaf can go into the Shadow Shiftry and a pretty solid grass and dark type attacker. The same goes for Shadow Manectric, a very glassy Pokemon, although it does have some play in that electric type category. However, it just gets beaten out by all those other premier electric type attackers. Just something we wanted to slot in here very quickly is that remember that the Team Go Rocket leaders, Cliff, Sierra, and Arlo, are going to change over their Pokemon as this event starts. We do not know what those Pokemon might be, but I'm going to tag them in the comments for you below. Event-themed rocket field research is going to be available, and the rewards there are going to be some mysterious components, fast TMs, as well as charged TMs. Pokestop showcases are going to be returning again. I wonder if eventually they're going to add a shadow form to the showcases. That would be really cool, but enter those for some premium rewards. Something we don't normally mention is to actually look at the web store. There's going to be a rocket themed box, which is going to be made available for about $10. Have a look at that and see if it's worth it for you. Now is my favorite part of the video where we can speak about these new Shadow Pokemon that have come into the game. There's going to be 3. The first one is going to be Shadow Turtoga. Unfortunately, because of this Pokemon's lackluster attack stat, it's probably not going to really shine in either the water or the rock type category, so it's probably going to be just a dex filler for now because they're just premier kind of other better attackers in those categories. The second Shadow Pokemon we're going to move on to is going to be Archen. And of course, when I first looked at this Pokemon, I just thought, we're just going to give this a skip because I probably know where that is going. Well, I was completely wrong. When I did a bit of research, I actually couldn't believe when I looked at Archen's evolution going into Archeops. Its base attack stat, I think, is 292, which is monstrous. In my opinion, this Pokemon in the game should be a lot more powerful, and because it's got a great typing of rock and flying, which is a really good type or types for raid attackers, I just can't believe the moves it's been given because they are terrible and they don't share any synergy at all. So as a rock type attacker or as a flying type attacker, it just doesn't really feature, but it could change, and I have a feeling because this Pokemon is gonna be a shadow form now, if they just give this one move that could sync with a fast move, guys, we've got an absolute banger on our hands. You would never think this because Archen just seems like, I just kind of want that shiny, but no, the shadow form could possibly put in a lot of work because of that attack stat, because remember, shadow Pokemon have 20% extra on their attack value, but their defense decreases by 20%, so that's very important to remember, particularly in this case, but it completely lands beautifully for the next Pokemon, which is gonna be Timber, Shadow Timber at that, which goes into Conkeldurr. This Pokemon, when I saw it, I just knew immediately because I know that as a bulky Pokemon for a fighting attacker, it's pretty good and it beats out Machamp in its bulk, but in its DPS, I just had to look at the stats and oh my goodness, this, not including Mega Pokemon, takes this to the number 2 spot in the fighting type category, which I could not believe, and it only gets beaten out by Terrakion. Only just. If you look at that ER value, it goes to just over 45, and it's a rule of thumb, any ER value that's over 45, you have got an absolute smasher of a Pokemon. So if you get a Timber, anything with 15 attack, because it's in that shadow form, with that 20% increase, that Shadow Conkeldurr is gonna put in so much work for you, especially if you're a new player. Please guys, I must say, these shadow Pokemon, they looked underrated at first, but doing some research, they could have massive, and they will have massive potential in this game. I'm super excited about this Rocket event. Remember, it kicks off on Friday. We cannot wait, and we've got the Shadow Lugia breakdown, which we're going to be doing in a few days, and we're even going to be discussing a few leaks that is going to be coming to Pokemon Go. You know what I'm talking about. Teaser. Anyway, we can't wait to bring that for you guys. Love you guys. Go with us, and we'll catch you on the next one, baby. Shh.